One summer moment can change a child's life. Through Toys for Tots Give and Go initiative, your support provides books, games, toys, and outdoor adventures that spark curiosity, creativity, and a love of nature. Whether it's fishing, learning a new sport, reading under a tree, or playing with friends, these moments build confidence and lifelong memories. For too many children, those moments never come. You can help change that this summer. Visit toysfortots.org. Toys for Tots, delivering hope beyond the holidays.
It's the 77 WABC News Hour.
Talking the news with Noam Laden.
All the news you need to know with Joe Nolan, traffic, Justin Ellick, sports. And now,
Talking the news with Noam
on 77 WABC.
Yes, that's me. Good morning. It is Wednesday, June 10th. Your forecast from the 77 WABC Weather Center. Mostly cloudy day on the way. Could see a pop-up shower this afternoon. High 82. Tonight and overnight cloudy, low 73. And then Thursday we'll have sun in the morning. Scattered thunderstorms possible in the afternoon. It's going to be hot and humid, the high 94. If you're walking out the door with us right now, so happy you are. 65 cloudy in Rye, up in Westchester. 64 and cloudy in Monroe over in New Jersey. And it's 65 and cloudy right outside our Midtown studios.
This is the Top 5 at 5.
It was a long, violent night in Trenton. A carriage horse collapses, dies in Central Park. There's a desperate search for a missing Long Island man. The Nick Watch Party is back at MSG tonight. And a local cat lady is a little out of her mind. What cat lady is not out of her mind? 5:04. Let's begin in my hometown, the very unfortunately violent hometown of Trenton. 7 people were shot in Trenton last night. The bullets flew. This was in the area of Center and Furman Streets about 10:30 last night. We don't have a whole lot of details. I'll be the first to tell you. We've been in touch trying to get some more from police because anytime you have 7 people shot in one night, that's a big deal. Officers arrived at the scene. They found 7 victims, including, they said, a juvenile. They were all taken to Capital Health Regional Medical Center. That's the hospital in New Jersey's capital city to be treated. Now, we know that 2 of these victims are in critical condition. 5 are in stable condition. There have been no arrests, and we don't have a word on a motive for the gunfire. And when police were talking late last night, really early this morning, they said they were looking for any details to figure out exactly what took place and would take calls from anybody who had any information. In Brooklyn yesterday, a 17-year-old girl recovering after she was stabbed with a butcher's knife inside a Brooklyn high school. The student sliced repeatedly in the leg and the arm by another teenage female, thought it to be a fellow classmate. It happened at the El Puente Academy for Peace and Justice. That's in Williamsburg.
It's shocking because I've never heard anything like that ever happening here before.
Typical high school, with happy, noisy kids coming and going.
Yeah, that's some parents in the neighborhood. School leaders believe the situation escalated following some sort of dispute between these 2 teenagers. The victim taken to local hospital. She is expected to recover.
That's terrible. I'm very sorry to hear it.
First time I've heard anything like that.
Yeah, NYPD tells us they retrieved the knife and the alleged attacker was in police custody as of late last night. The victim in Monday's deadly Bronx bus shooting. This is one where somebody opened fire on a moving bus in the Bronx on Monday. Well, he's been identified now because he was shot and killed. 41-year-old Jonathan Pettigrew. He's a father of 7, a restaurant worker, apparently an aspiring rapper. He was the one who was shot and killed aboard a bus Monday afternoon. His brother didn't have a lot to say, but he spoke out a little bit yesterday.
He's a good kid. He's not a street person.
Police say a fellow passenger on a BX 36 bus Monday afternoon shot Pettigrew in the stomach after the gunman reportedly asked him to turn down the volume on his phone. The victim stumbled off the bus on East Tremont Avenue near White Plains Road, was fatally wounded.
I see all the police, everybody comes, they take the gentleman, they put him in the back of the ambulance, and that was it. It was calm, didn't look like I thought maybe he got hit, maybe a traffic accident, and no indication that it was a gunshot. They put him in. He looked like he was in pain, a little uncomfortable, but didn't look like he was going to pass.
Yeah, so Andrew Pettigrew says his brother, who was shot dead, never would have picked a fight and he wants justice for his brother.
I just want justice and hope he pay for what he had done.
Yeah, police still looking for the gunman this morning. They only a lot of details they don't have, but they say the guy last seen with a pink backpack. WABC News Time 509. Let's head up to Maine, where it was primary night last night. Graham Plattner will and has won the Democratic Senate primary up there. He thanked his supporters at a rally last night.
It is an honor, and I will not let you down.
Now, he defeated Maine Governor Janet Mills, third candidate David Costello. He will face Republican incumbent Senator Susan Collins in the November midterms.
It is deeply humbling to stand here as your Democratic nominee.
Yeah, it was a long election process for Graham Plattner, who's facing a slew of allegations about a tattoo resembling a Nazi symbol he later had covered up, and several women reporting volatile relationships in the past with him, one alleging physical abuse. Though, as you heard last night, Graham Plattner thanking his supporters in a rally last night. And while we're talking elections, 7 days after California voters went to the polls, Republican Steve Hilton finally found out yesterday that he is the second candidate in the race for governor come November. The top two vote getters in the primary move on. He'll face off against Democrat Javier Becerra for governor in California come November. Hilton and Becerra defeated Democrat Tom Steyer to advance to the general election. Hilton and his supporters were talking yesterday about how frustrated they were about California's slow voting count process.
Nothing works in California because you've got people who don't know how to make things work. It's the same system that can't count votes, that can't build a train after 10 years and billions of dollars.
Now, Hilton says California's election process should not be making national headlines. He says it's embarrassing for California.
There are 9 million wrong entries on the voter rolls in California. 9 million. That's about the same number of people who are voting in this election, completely including dogs. Totally unacceptable. We got to get more resources to these count centers so they can get on with it and get us the result that we deserve. We're the fourth biggest economy in the world. He keeps telling us, well, let's act like it.
The Democratic candidate for governor, Javier Becerra, held his first public event yesterday since election night, taking lots of questions on the slow vote count as well.
Someone show me the fraud that's going on. Someone tell me why we have to make it more difficult for Californians to vote, because that's what this initiative that is being peddled by Donald Trump would do.
He's talking about voter ID. There is a voter ID measure on California's ballot come November.
It's about having the infrastructure to be able to have more capacity to process votes. I suspect most of the county registrars would tell you, sure, give me more money so I can hire more people and have more equipment and so I can process these votes faster.
So what is Becerra's speculation on why it takes so long for California to count its ballots?
I think it's a good thing that there are so many votes that it's taking a little while to count. I don't think it's a great thing that it takes such a long time, but the most important thing is that we count every vote.
Yeah, a week later seems a little nuts. WABC News Time 512. While we're out in California, about 2,000 food and beverage workers at SoFi Stadium will be working World Cup matches after all. They had said they were going to walk off just as the World Cup begins this weekend.
This morning, Unite Here Local 11 announced a tentative deal to avoid a strike 3 days before kickoff. Members of the Hospitality Workers Union overwhelmingly authorized a strike last Friday, but leaders never actually called for a strike. They demanded higher pay, better safety rules, and a ban on ICE agents at the stadium. Union reps speaking this morning say the tentative agreement was reached late Monday. The agreement is expected to be presented to workers for ratification on Wednesday. Terms of the deal have not been released. I'm Daniel Martindale.
Yeah, and Team USA, they will play their games at SoFi, the first one against Paraguay on either its Friday or Saturday's game one for Team America. WABC News Time 5:13. Let's go overseas. Maybe you saw some of this. Anti-immigrant protesters in the city of Belfast in the United Kingdom. Last night, they were torching buildings and cars. This was after a Sudanese man was arrested for a knife attack that left one person with some pretty serious injuries. Hundreds of protesters, many of them masked, they gathered at several locations last night across the city. They set fire to buses, several cars, and to several immigrant homes. Yeah, a building near the city center was also set alight, with residents telling some news agencies that the protesters started to fire in trash bins. They were throwing gas bombs at some homes.
You see, this car was targeted. That home was attacked. This is an area that the police officer told me is housed with mainly migrant families in the area. We can see the pictures of its height of the violence last night. Families were fleeing the houses by the police officers and the fire brigade. They were put into cars. They were driven away to safety.
Yeah, Michelle O'Neill, who's the First Minister of Northern Ireland, slamming the protests and urging for calm this morning. 5:14. Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard says it attacked the U.S. Fifth Fleet in Bahrain this morning and an air base in Jordan in response to U.S. strikes on southern Iran earlier, while Kuwait reported coming under fire from Iranian attacks as well today. Now, this all comes after the U.S. military Central Command said it carried out self-defense strikes against Iran yesterday in response to the downing of a U.S. helicopter by Iranian forces over the Strait of Hormuz. The Iranian foreign minister says the U.S. chose to test their determination, and he says that armed forces would leave no attack or threat unanswered. This is as President Trump yesterday said that they were working on a deal and that a peace deal was not far off. Meanwhile, the volley of fire between Lebanon and Hezbollah and Israel, that continues today. And correspondent Richard Engel reports that President Trump is becoming more vocal about his frustration with Israeli Prime Minister Bibi Netanyahu.
After saying he, not Netanyahu, call all the shots and set the terms for a possible deal with Iran, Trump told Axios, Bibi, you better be careful, or you'll be on your own very soon.
Yes, the New York Times says that President Trump told Netanyahu that the breakthrough involves a long-term nuclear deal with Iran, and he wants to get the ceasefire deal signed.
Iran says the Israeli offensive in Lebanon is preventing a peace deal with Washington. Yesterday, both Israel and Iran stopped firing, but still disagree over ceasefire terms, as President Trump is becoming increasingly vocal about his frustration with Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu.
Yes, meanwhile, still a mess in the Middle East this morning. In a moment, we will head down to D.C., where there were some wild moments in testimony about the Southern Poverty Law Center. You want to stick around for this story. But first, 5:16, let's head over to the 77 WABC Sports Desk. Good morning, Justin Allen.
Good morning to you, Noam Layden. Looking ahead to tonight, 8:30 p.m., back at MSG. Game 4 of the NBA Finals, Spurs and Knicks. Of course, the Knicks still up 2-1 heading in, looking to go up 3-1, and or I guess we could say let the Spurs tie this series, take back home court advantage. We do not want to see that happen. Out on the diamond in Cleveland, Jazz Chisholm Jr. homered leading off the 8th inning, and the Yankees defeated the Guardians 3-2 to secure a series win and taking the first 2 of the 3-game set. Spencer Jones also went deep with his first major league home run for the Yankees, who have won 3 straight and are 10-4 since May 24th. Chisholm once again used one of Aaron Judge's bats to launch his 3rd homer in his last 6 games. The New York bullpen pitched 5 scoreless innings, and Camilo Doval got the win after working the 7th. Fernando Cruz struck out 4 in an inning and 2/3 hitless of work for his 3rd career save and first this season. And starter Garrett Cole gave up 2 runs and 5 hits with 4 strikeouts in 5 innings. Up next for the Yankees, the lefty Carlos Rodon gets a start in this afternoon series finale against the Guardians. First pitch from Cleveland is scheduled for 1:10 p.m. In Queens, the Mets got shut out 7-0 by the Cardinals in the opener of a 3-game series against St. Louis. A.J. Ewing had 2 hits for the Mets, who were blanked for the 7th time, already 1 shy of their total from last season. Francisco Alvarez was 1 for 3 in his return from a right knee injury, and starter Freddie Peralta gave up 6 runs and struck out 5 with 2 walks over 6 innings. Up next for the Mets, Austin Warren will get the start as an opener in the middle game of this 3-game set tonight. First pitch from Citi Field is scheduled for 7:10 p.m. Checking in on the Stanley Cup Final as well. Hurricanes prevailing over the Golden Knights last night in Las Vegas. A very pretty goal from Jordan Stahl.
What's exactly a pretty goal?
A beauty, if you will.
Oh, okay.
That's the correct hockey terminology. Noam
Wasn't familiar with
Well, he was completely horizontal.
Oh, you mean he was lying down when he shot?
No, he was in the air. He's airborne. God, jeez.
We said horizontal.
Mike, can you have a little bit of an imagination here? I know you don't watch hockey, but you can have an imagination. Horizontals flying through the air.
I gotcha.
Kind of slices his.
I might have just said he was flying through the air, not horizontal, because that made it sound like he was lying down.
Yeah, well, shades of his older brother Eric Stahl, the former captain of the Carolina Hurricanes, runs in the family, I guess you could say. Yeah, so beauty from Stahl last night. Hurricanes, they tied that series at 2 games apiece in Game 4. That is your Sports Noah, man. I'm Justin Alec on 77 WABC.
Thank you very much, Justin. Time for traffic, transit. Here's Joel Noah.
Well, again, good morning there, Noam. Good morning, everybody, from the Apple Bank traffic desk. Again, we're doing pretty well coming inbound on the Long Island
You're not
Expressway.
Doing traffic horizontally, are you? Or no,
no,
okay.
I'm not. But
sure.
he went top shelf in the House of Twine when he played.
Oh, look at you! Wow. Say that again. He went what?
Top shelf in the House of Twine.
Wow, I'm going to remember that. WABC News Time 520. Let's head down to D.C. Are you familiar with the Southern Poverty Law Center, an organization that's been around for a while? They claim that they fight against hate groups and that they stand up to hate groups across the country, but some of the allegations being made against them are just wild if they're true. Brian Fair was appearing before the House Judiciary Committee yesterday to answer questions over allegations that the civil rights group funneled millions in funds to extremist groups that they said that they were fighting. If this is true, this is crazy.
For 55 years, with the support of generous donors who appreciate our work, the SPLC has fought racial terror, white supremacy, and other forms of discrimination and hate.
So Brian Fair says these allegations are not true. The Justice Department indictment says the tax-exempt funds were actually used to purchase materials for KKK robes, facilitating cross burnings and funding travel for extremist rallies.
We now have the superseding indictment from the Justice Department. It wasn't $3 million that they were paying these field sources. It was actually $4 million the Southern Poverty Law Center paid to field sources, and they didn't just pay them to foment the hate they told their donors they were fighting. They actually dated them.
Now, some of the people who were part of this organization say those allegations just not true.
I have spent my entire life living the reality that America is not a collection of competing tribes. America is one people under God. That is why I am troubled by the conduct and messaging of organizations that claim to fight hatred while profiteering from division.
Congressman Chip Roy, he's from Texas. He accused the group of targeting Christian activists for speaking out on LGBT issues while ignoring other religions that take the same stance.
You think there's a bunch of Islamic groups that are pro-LGBTQ? Is that the position of the SPLC? I just want to make sure the record is reflecting that. How many leftist anti-Jewish groups do you have listed on your website? How many extremist Islamic groups do you have of the 1,500 or so organizations you have on your hate map?
Yeah, crazy if all these allegations are true. Morris Dees, he was the founder of the organization. I interviewed him a number of times over the years. I think he, if not mistaken, he was canceled during the whole Me Too movement back in right before COVID, right during COVID. 523, NASA announcing the crew for its Artemis 3 mission. The crew consists of Commander Randy Bresnik, pilot Luca Paramitano, and specialists Andre Douglas and Frank Rubo.
Randy, Luca, Frank, and Andre, I am excited to welcome you as the next crew in the Artemis journey to successfully return to the moon, this time to stay.
4 astronauts will launch from the Kennedy Space Center in Florida aboard the Orion spacecraft to test rendezvous and docking capabilities between Orion and commercial human landing systems needed to deliver astronauts to the moon's surface. You know, they eventually want to build some sort of colony there.
Since adding the Artemis 3 test flight before our first crewed moon landing, our team is focused on developing the mission to test about as much as we can how we operate with our commercial partners across systems, teams, software, and hardware in the entirely difficult environment of space.
Now, this comes right on the heels of the successful Artemis 2 mission, where 4 astronauts flew around the moon in the first crewed lunar mission in over 50 years. This next mission, it's set for mid to late next year. 524, while we're talking about things in outer space, a group of bipartisan lawmakers, other advocates, advocating for full government disclosure on unidentified aerial phenomena, or UAPs. They all gathered on Capitol Hill yesterday, Republicans, Democrats alike, who want more information released. Here's Republican Congressman Eric Burleson of Missouri. He was among the speakers yesterday.
We are no longer asking hypothetical questions anymore. Congress is requesting specific records and videos. These agencies and contractors know that we know that they exist, and we're going to get them released.
Now, the White House has released a lot in the last couple weeks and months, but apparently these lawmakers say not enough.
We continue to receive credible claims of recovered craft and reverse engineering programs that may have operated for decades outside of any oversight. Those claims point to specific facilities, contractors, records, and people.
Now, did you look at any of the stuff that they released already? I mean, I didn't think there's anything so crazy in there, but these lawmakers suggest there's more out there that might freak us out if we had a chance to see it. 5:25 out to Arizona. Pima County, Arizona Sheriff Chris Nanos says he's beginning to crack down on the bad behavior by YouTubers and sleuths who keep turning up in Nancy Guthrie's neighborhood. She's Savannah Guthrie's mom, who's been missing since February, and everybody thinks they can solve this case, and nobody's been able to. So you have these amateur sleuths, these would-be detectives, these YouTubers who are hanging out in the neighborhood, sometimes harassing neighbors for information.
The complaints got to be pretty egregious in that the behavior of those individuals was becoming pretty scary, pretty frightful.
Now, he didn't detail exactly what these YouTubers are doing, but you can sort of guess on your own. Several YouTubers have been arrested. Nano says the new policy that they laid out, it's aimed at those who continue to ignore requests and warnings, and comes after they've gotten just 911 complaints from neighbors of Nancy have tripled since she went missing.
If we happen to look at you and say, no, you've received a ticket, you've been cited for this same behavior, that didn't do you any good, you've upped the ante for me, so we're going to now take you to jail.
Yeah, leave those poor neighbors alone.
If somebody's just out there from one of our local media outlets or even a YouTuber, and they've not been cited, then fine, we'll give you a citation and expect you to be reasonable with us and not come back.
Yeah, he says he's not messing around. He said he'll jail some of these people. She, of course, Nancy Guthrie, unfortunately, has not been found. She's been missing since it looks like it was kidnapped from her home back on February 1st.
It's the 77 WABC News Hour.
Talking the news with Noam Laden.
All the news you need to know with Joe Nolan, traffic, Justin Ellick, sports. And now,
Talking the news with Noam
on 77 WABC.
Yes, that's me. Good morning. It is Wednesday, June 10th. Your forecast from the 77 WABC Weather Center. Mostly cloudy day on the way. Could see a pop-up shower this afternoon. High 82. Tonight and overnight, cloudy, low 73. And then Thursday, we'll have sun in the morning. Scattered thunderstorms possible in the afternoon. It's going to be hot and humid, the high 94. If you're walking out the door with us right now, so happy you are. 65 cloudy in Rye, up in Westchester. 64 and cloudy in Monroe, over in New Jersey. And it's 65 and cloudy right outside our Midtown studios. WABC News Time 540 story we've been covering since early this morning. Getting a few more details. A mass shooting in Trenton, New Jersey overnight. 7 people were shot. The shooting happened in the area of Center and Furman Streets. Police say when officers arrived at the scene, they found 7 victims, including a juvenile. Now, all were taken to a local hospital to be treated. 2 of those victims are in critical condition. The rest of them are in stable condition at this hour. There have been no arrests, and so far, police have not detailed a motive for the gunfire. Let's bring it back here into the city last night. A 16-year-old carriage horse died inside Central Park. Police say the deceased horse was reported in the vicinity of Central Park West, 72nd Street. This was about 7:30 last night. The carriage had 2 passengers on it at the time of the incident. Nuratan Kirbek, he owns the horse and the buggy, and as you might imagine, devastated by what took place.
The horse fell down in a minute.
What did you do when that horse fell down?
I just come out, I tried to take it out and make him horse free to get up, and he died in 2 seconds.
Yeah, New Yorkers walking by say it was a sad scene to see such a large animal lying on the ground lifeless.
When is enough going to be enough? When is enough going to be enough?
I was going on a run and I saw a horse on the floor struggling to breathe, and then the poor horse stopped breathing.
Yeah, so this, of course, will add to the contentious divide between animal rights groups and those who support the horse-drawn carriages, which are incredibly popular in Central Park. Animal rights activists, some of them ran to the scene last night to make their point that the horses, they say, are not treated well.
I just was walking my dog and see a dead horse on the path on my walk home. And again, this is the second incident that I've seen in 10 months.
TWU Local 100, they're the union that represents the horse and buggy drivers. They say these horses, in this case, the horse's name was Deniz, are beloved by their caretakers. They said that Deniz was last seen by the NYPD mounted unit veterinarian back in March and was found to be fit. Here's the head of that union.
For these people to come and just accuse him of mistreating his animal that helps him feed his children is revolting.
Animal rights groups have been trying to ban those carriage rides for years. Even before this latest casualty last night, they were planning a rally at City Hall for today, actually. Meanwhile, the rides remain popular for tourists. Deniz will be taken for a full necropsy by a pathology department at Cornell University to determine the cause of the horse's death. While we're talking animals, we'll head out to Long Island, where a mother from Long Island facing some really serious charges today after police say they found dozens of cats inside her home that she shares with her 2 daughters. Now, police are telling us that it was one of the daughters who turned her in because the house was so disgusting she felt like she was in danger there.
I know her daughter called, which is pretty brave.
Yeah.
And I just, it's just a shame.
That's a neighbor. 54-year-old Olena Horbatko was in court in Glen Cove yesterday, seemed to be unaware of how much trouble she was in. She didn't respond to reporters' questions about the cats, but police and animal rescue crews, they described what was just an awful situation inside their home on St. Andrews Lane.
We were let in the house yesterday by the daughter, and we were able to see firsthand what they were dealing with. There are multiple levels, multiple floors full of live cat waste. Litter boxes overflowing. It's amazing how somebody was allowed to live in these conditions.
Now, if you're a crazy cat lady, that's fine, but to have your kids inside, that's another story. So for the past 2 days, workers in hazmat attire, that's how bad it was, have been removing everything they can from what is a now disgusting house. Some of the cats appear to have eye infections. SPCA says they all have respiratory disease and will need to be on medication. What about those kids? We haven't heard a whole lot about them, what kind of shape the kids are in.
We found a website of her selling cats online that we emailed to the police at the time.
We've been here in the past before, and at one point it seemed like she was cleaning up the house, and we thought it was a situation was rectified.
Yeah, apparently not. Horbatko's home has now been condemned, though her family told the judge they don't know where they're going to live now that she doesn't have a home to go to, but they say that's their problem. In a moment, we will head over to Madison Square Garden, where even after all the violence, the watch party is back at MSG tonight. We'll get to that story and more in just a moment. But first, 5:45, let's head over to the 77 WABC Sports Desk. No doubt, Justin Ellick, Knicks is your top story, right?
Yeah, I'm not going to be at that damn watch party, though. You can bet you're behind.
Oh, all right. I don't know if I can do that. That might be behind. But what watch party will you be at?
It's called My Couch. and it's called My Television, and it's called Me, Myself, and I.
Yeah, that's the best way to watch a game. I can hear everything.
Yeah.
I can hear the play-by-play.
Exactly. You make it as loud as you want.
You can have as many beers or whatever as you want.
Of course. Well, listen, we all got work tomorrow. It's an 8:30 game. No, I don't know how many beers I could have for the duration of this game. But, I'm going to be sitting at home alone watching this game, crossing my fingers, hoping the Knicks can go up 3-1. Firstly, here's sports sponsored by Pete Morgan and Peerless Boilers. Go to peerlessboilers.com to find a deal under you. Peerless Boilers, the world's best-built boilers, and we are looking ahead to that 8:30 p.m. tip-off tonight at MSG. Spurs and Knicks NBA Finals Game 4. Of course, our Knicks up 2-1, looking to take a 3-1 series lead. Or the Spurs, if they do prevail, tie the series, take back home court advantage before the series goes back to San Antonio. Don't want to see that happen. Out in Cleveland are the Diamond Jazz. Chisholm Jr. homered, leading off the 8th, and the Yankees defeated the Guardians 3-2 to secure a series win and taking the first 2 of a 3-game set. Spencer Jones also went deep in his first major league home run for the Yankees, who have won 3 straight and are 10-4 since May 24th. Chisholm once again used one of Aaron Judge's bats to launch his 3rd homer in his last 6 games. New York bullpen pitched 5 scoreless innings. Camilo Doval got the win after working the 7th. Fernando Cruz struck out 4 in an inning and 2/3 hitless innings for his 3rd career save, first this season. And starter Garrett Cole gave up 2 runs and 5 hits with 4 strikeouts in 5 innings. Up next for the Yankees, the lefty Carlos Rodon gets a start in this afternoon series finale against Cleveland. First pitch against the Guardians scheduled for 1:10 p.m. In Queens, Mets got shut out 7-0 by the Cardinals in the opener of a 3-game series against St. Louis. A.J. Ewing had 2 hits for the Mets, who were blanked for the 7th time, already 1 shy of their total from last season. Francisco Alvarez was 1 for 3 in his return from a right knee injury, and starter Freddie Peralta gave up 6 runs and struck out 5 with 2 walks over 6 innings. Up next for the Mets, Austin Warren will get the start as an opener in the middle game of this 3-game set tonight. First pitch from Citi Field was scheduled for 7:10 p.m. And your Stanley Cup final picked up last night out in Las Vegas. It was the Hurricanes, courtesy of Jordan Stahl, prevailing over the Golden Knights 5-3 in Game 4. They're knotting up that series at 2 games apiece. That is your sports, sponsored by Pete Morgan and Peerless Boilers. Go to peerlessboilers.com to find a deal under you. Peerless Boilers, the world's best built boilers. I'm Justin Ellick on 77 WABC.
WABC News Time 5:49. Let's go out to Long Island, where a 78-year-old center reach man who has Parkinson's has been missing for nearly a week now. Tina M. says her father, Mo, goes for a walk every morning, every day, and he went for one last week and unfortunately never came home.
I just hope he comes back. I always think, I'll look out the window when I'm working in my room and I'm like, maybe he'll just walk in like, hey, I've been just around. And he'll just laugh it off.
Yeah, still no sign of Mo. His wife normally takes the walk with him, but decided not to on that day, and she's beside herself.
She just felt a lot of guilt because she walks with him sometimes, and that's the day that she didn't, and he's not, he didn't return.
Now, Mo had not been diagnosed with dementia, which happens a lot of times where these older individuals walk off, but she said she had noticed memory lapses here and there, and she's hoping somehow he's somewhere. Maybe someone's taken him in.
I'm trying to prepare for the worst, but not to at the same time. I keep trying to think there must be a lot of good people out there. Maybe they just take him to a hospital next town or some kind of shelter or some kind of facility.
His daughter says as of today, he is still missing. New York Knicks, the 13-game postseason winning streak, it was snapped on Monday night by the Spurs. So tonight's Game 4, the Knicks still lead the best-of-7 NBA Finals 2-1. Fans still feeling confident that the Knicks will win the championship.
I think we're going to take it, though. I think we're going to win eventually. I am very optimistic. Knicks in 5, we will still win this.
It's just about cleaning up the mistakes. This team is very resilient.
Yeah, and you had the fans still talking about Game 3. They said the refs did not treat the Knicks well.
I just hope that the refs could call things a little more even now. Second half, if you look at the foul shot disparity, it was uneven.
And in the second half, they get 24 free throw attempts to our 8. And maybe we were fouling, but they fouled too.
Yeah, that was Knicks head coach Mike Brown, who hopes he ripped the refs after the game Monday. He hopes they're better tonight. And there will be a Madison Square watch party. So you have the fans that'll go into the Garden that are fortunate enough to pay thousands of dollars to get in. And then you'll be back with one of those MSG fan parties outside. This is after there was some violence at a party Monday night in Bryant Park. The area outside MSG will see similar security measures to those in place for Game 3, with the NYPD saying 1,000 ticketed attendees will be allowed at this watch party next to MSG, and they say everyone will be screened.
They're taking the fun out of it. Yeah, they're taking the fun out of it.
God, it's such a long process to just go watch the game outside, but I guess it's extra security measures, keeping everyone safe.
Yeah, so it'd probably be easier to stay home. But in response, this was interesting. Madison Square Garden called Mayor Mamdani and Police Commissioner Jessica Tisch the biggest party poopers ever. They say, we know these restrictions were never about the president, because remember, they moved the party on Monday night to Bryant Park. They say it was a convenient excuse to restrict how and when Knicks fans celebrate. Knicks owner James Dolan, a friend, a longtime supporter of President Trump, he invited him to the game on Monday night. But he says, yeah, maybe there were some rough crowds, but they should let this party go on. So it will go on, but they will know who all the 1,000 people are that are walking into this party before they get there tonight, because you have to register ahead of time. WABC News Time 5:53. We're talking sports. New Jersey now going to give away 750 free tickets to the FIFA World Cup, much like Mayor Mamdani gave away 1,000 tickets, though they charged them $50 in a lottery. This one will also be not as much of a lottery like it was here in the city. They kind of know who most of these tickets are going to go to in the end.
Today, we're giving fans another opportunity to get to the game. So whether you're in the stadium or watching with family and friends in one of our exciting fan zones, or catching a game you missed in a bar staying open late, this is a great event.
That's Governor Mikey Sherrill making the announcement yesterday that these tickets will be given away now. Military personnel will get most of them. First responders will get a lot of them. Kids from poorer neighborhoods will get some. So it's not a lottery so much like New York City's was.
And we still have 70 tickets up for grabs to be awarded through the World Cup Rewards program. If you stop by some of our fan zones, you too can win a seat at one of these games.
Yeah, so you can find those fan zones online. If you stop there, then you can enter the lottery, but it's only 70 tickets. You'll get a chance at a free ticket. The only ticket that you won't get is the one to the World Cup final, which is also being played at MetLife Stadium. That they're not giving away. And there is an increasing number of warnings about scams targeting the tourists and people just desperate for World Cup tickets. The FBI yesterday issuing an alert warning that several domains online are spoofing the legitimate FIFA website. And sometimes it's just hard to tell. Is this legit or not? The fake sites often have one letter different than the legitimate site. And the punctuation sometimes is wrong. The English is off. So, you got to read really closely. But people are getting scammed already by this.
They're creating a sense of anxiety. Either they're telling you that it is time-based, act now, or you'll miss out on your chance to get the tickets.
Yeah, they were showing off some of these sites last night. So, sometimes you go on Ticketmaster and they say you have like 12 minutes, 15 minutes to make the purchase. They do the same thing here, hoping that you'll grab the ticket. And of course, a lot of times the price is better than you think that price would be.
They're creating images, videos, legitimate looking organizations. Whether it's their logo or their name or their address, they're doing all of that with the help of AI.
And as my good friend Janice Lieberman used to say on her CNBC show, Steals and Deals, if the deal is too good to be true, it probably is.
It's definitely a telltale sign if someone's asking you for cryptocurrency, gift cards, wire transfers as the form of payment.
And if the ticket is a lot less than a normal ticket is, if you go into one of the other secondary markets, it's probably not true.
Thanks for listening to the News Hour with Noam Laden. You can hear the News Hour with Noam Laden weekday mornings at 5 on 77 WABC. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode, so you never have to wonder.
What the heck is going on here?